Okay. Welcome everyone to our wine and wellness, or whatever it is you chose to bring with you today. We are drinking our special vitamin drink in wine glasses. We are not having wine at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. So whoever invited you, I just want to welcome you here. Some of us have tried these products before and have used some of our health systems that we're going to talk about. But some of you have not, and our goal always is just to be able to share our mission of being able to create healthier communities, because I think we're all very, very aware right now that we've got some challenges in our environment, and we need to do all we can to protect ourselves, our family, our friends, and our communities. And so with that being said, I'm actually going to introduce my husband, who I was beating up before, Philip Black. He goes by Pip, P-I-P, same forward as backwards. And we're going to have a little fun today, but I want him to start off because, you know, Rick kind of alluded to it earlier that he wasn't always, you know, on board with me with all of this, but he was always what he considered healthy. And so I'm going to let him share a story just to kind of kick off the day here.
Well, thank you. I do want to say that when we were first introduced to the products, our son was the first one who we put on. And the results that we saw from him were remarkable. And I was on board with the product almost immediately because I saw what it did for our son. And moving forward, I thought I lived a healthy lifestyle all these years. In fact, our mantra, eat well, exercise, and supplement intelligently, is something I thought I was living. I played baseball in high school. I was, you know, an athlete. I ran. Once baseball was done, I took up running. And I got to the point where when I ran, my knees were so swollen and so inflamed that I almost could only run every other day or every third day, until I upped the amount of one of the products, OPC3. And that, along with some other combinations, completely changed my running. And I got to a point where I can now run every day, and I don't need knee braces, and I don't need anything like that. But fast forward to about 2011, again, I thought I was eating healthy. I thought I was living well. And as we've learned, most people will tell you they eat well because they don't know to what extent they either are or they aren't. But most people think they do eat well. It's very rare for us to ask people if they eat healthy and they say, no, I don't eat healthy at all. Usually they say yes. And then as you kind of talk to them, you realize their perception of healthy might be a little different than ours. But that's why we do these things, is to educate. But like I said, 2011 was a good year. Everything was going along great until I got a diagnosis that kind of rocked my world. And I had a surgeon tell me that I had cancer. And he literally said, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is you have cancer. The good news is it's thyroid cancer, and it's completely treatable, and you'll be fine. You just need to have surgery and radiation. And to make a long story short, I could tell this story much longer, but we're going to shorten it. To make a long story short, we chose not to go that route. And I say we, and every time I tell the story, I say we, because when a diagnosis comes across that is cancer, you do it with somebody else. You're living it with the other person. So Beth was living it with me. So everything we did was we. We decided to take a more holistic approach to it. And even though I felt like we were eating well, we went further down, and I was growing wheatgrass and doing wheatgrass shots. We started juicing every day. I learned about the Budwig diet and started eating some things that I never ate before in my life. And even though I thought I was a healthy eater, it got ramped up even more. But we also utilized a lot of the products that we're going to talk about today to help out significantly. And again, part of the short story is we got a second opinion from another doctor who happened to be part of this Market America family. And he said he didn't think it sounded like cancer, my symptoms and everything that I described. And we did a telephone consult. And basically he said it sounds like heavy metal toxicity more than it does cancer. And he said the easy way to do it is let's take a test and your blood will reveal what's going on. And what we found out was I was heavily, heavily toxic in mercury, lead, and thallium. And the reason for that, when we went back, was I had my wisdom, or I had the, not wisdom teeth, I had my amalgams taken out, the fillings, and I didn't have them taken out properly. And what happened was some of the metal leaked into my blood and started heading downstream and then ended up in my throat area. So again, utilizing our products, especially Complete Greens, I was able to chelate a lot of that heavy metal out of my blood. And 6 months later, we took another test and those heavy metal levels were all significantly lower. 6 months later, we took another test and all 3 of those heavy metals were in the green, meaning I was in the safe zone and I had no heavy metal toxicity. So it was, lesson learned is you can always do better than what you think you're doing in terms of healthy eating. Another lesson learned is always get a second opinion. But another lesson learned is this family that, you know, we're all on this call, some of us are business partners. There are people out there in this organization who will help you at any time. All you have to do is ask. The doctor who did the phone consult isn't in our organization. He just knew we were part of the family and he helped us significantly. And so a lot of it is obviously the nutrition, but a lot of it is people helping people, and Beth's going to explain that. So I'll turn it back over to Beth.
Excellent. So let me just jump ahead and get some, oops. Whoa, I've got all kinds of things happening on my screen here. Okay, let me see if I can pop this open. There we go. Okay, that's just telling you who we are. Basically, Pip was a former insurance executive. He actually retired from that 11 years ago.
11 years ago, a couple days ago.
A couple days ago. So he joined me in business. I actually started this business 24 plus years ago. And I did because I was myself, when I got pregnant after moving to Florida, got pregnant about 28 years ago and was very, very sick with allergies and infections and upper respiratory infections. And I was on antibiotic therapy and I was on allergy shots. And I just didn't seem to be able to get control of it. And when I got pregnant, my body kind of fell apart. I don't know how I gave birth to a healthy 8.5-pound baby boy, but I did. And needless to say, my whole body was kind of falling apart at the time. So they basically told me that I was going to be on medication the rest of my life. I was going to have fibromyalgia. I was going to have, they started listing all these diagnoses to me. And I was like, whoa, you got the wrong chick. Like, you're talking to the wrong person. Fortunately for me, I am an occupational therapist. In schooling, I was fortunate enough, I guess a blessing from above, that I had a Chinese professor. And so I learned a lot about both Eastern and Western medicine at the same time. And so in my ear, I kept thinking, there are other ways, there are other ways, there are other ways. And I started seeking out other ways. Keep in mind, 27, 28 years ago, we didn't have an internet. So it was a little bit more challenging to seek out ways, but I did that. And it changed my life. And so I found this business through seeking out quality supplementation and quality healthy lifestyle systems. It wasn't just about products, because again, you're going to see it's a four-prong approach. It's a four-pillar approach. So to go into that, we must tell you that these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, but we are just sharing some information of things we have all learned along the way. And we'll have some people share some of their stories a little bit more deeply as we go along. So we've all kind of bought into this without knowing we bought into it. And it's the standard American diet. It's pretty sad. But this is what we've kind of come to see, that our dietary recommendations of what's recommended for health are not being met in our society. And I say our society, it's really pretty much across the globe almost. Where we should be on the things that we should have in our body, such as vegetables and fruit. And I talk about, again, this book that I mentioned, How Not to Die, is all about plant-based diets, and that our earth is meant to give us the foods we need. And so when we look at things that I call DOOF, which is food spelled backwards, which are things made to look like food, but they have no nutritional value, which is a lot of what we have available to us in our grocery stores, in our fast food places, even in our grocery stores. When we go to the grocery stores and we go on into those beautiful counter areas where they've created beautiful meals that are pick up and carry out, we don't always know what ingredients are in those. And so they're made to look like healthy things, but there's so many times what I found, so many chemicals in them, and I realized I was very chemical sensitive. So this is what we were dealing with. We used to be marketed things like, become your hero was the Incredible Hulk, the Jolly Green Giant, Popeye, things like that. And now today we're looking and saying our heroes that our kids are looking up to in their cartoons are Shrek. And let's face it, our body shapes have definitely changed in this country, but it's not always about body shape, because there's always what's called skinny fat or skinny unhealthy. And that's what I always felt like I was. I was very fit. I worked out a lot, started working out in my teenage years. But the thing is, I was very unhealthy and not fit inside. And a lot of it is because it has all led up to this. It's been a very well-designed plan with depletion of our soils. You can look at, I don't have to explain this chart. I think everybody gets it. And then that in turn depletes our plants and depletes our animals. And then they shove extra stuff into our plants and animals that don't even belong there, like GMOs, which are genetically modified organisms, and antibiotics and hormones and things like that into our animals. And then we become the person that eats those things or absorbs them from our environment through our skin or what have you, and we're supposed to be healthy. So why are we here today? We're here because we learned that this process wasn't working, and we wanted to start sharing that with people. But you can't beat people over the head. It's really, I always say, the people with the ears to hear it will hear it. And so we just keep spreading our message, and that's why we all come together, normally in person. But we have figured out a way to come together as best as we can in these times. And so we thank you again for being here, because every sickness, every disease, and every ailment can be traced to a mineral deficiency. That was from Dr. Linus Pauling many, many, many years ago. This is not just recent information. So we have options for getting our essential nutrients. When we look at, our bodies are built off of basically water, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. That's what our body is made up of. So we all know, I think everybody knows, they should be drinking at least 8 glasses of clean water per day so that you can hydrate your body. And if you're working out, you should be even taking more than that in. And then obviously Pip talked about healthy eating, which we're going to talk about today a little bit, and supplementation, because honestly, we used to think supplementation was for just the higher end person. It really isn't. It's really for everyone. It's actually needed. It's vital. It's essential, because if your body is not making it, you have to take it. And our foods are so void that if we're not supplementing intelligently, we're not getting the necessary things to void off disease. And so what depletes nutrients? What are the things that we have besides our environment? Because we know that things that are in our environment, pesticides, chemicals, those things deplete nutrients. But then medications, all kinds of medications. We already know, it's been well known for many years, that if you're on a statin drug, you need to replenish coenzyme Q10 in your system. However, it is not required for a doctor to tell you that in the United States of America. However, you go to some European countries and it is absolutely required that if they put you on a statin and prescribe it, they must prescribe a coenzyme Q10 supplement with it, because they know it depletes in the body. So you have various medications that deplete your B vitamins, things like that, sugar, sodas, wine. I know this is a wine and wellness. I'm kind of grateful to see that not many people brought wine with them. Is an occasional glass of wine okay? Absolutely. Is an occasional drink Okay, absolutely. However, it's not something that we want to be drinking bottles of. And in times like this, when stress hits, what can we do? So we want to talk about all those things today because we're looking for answers. So what if, just what if you could actually get in a variety of colors through your fruits, through your vegetables every day in the right amounts to be able to give you the wellness, the health, the vitality, the energy that you are looking for and that the people around you are looking for. It's in our foods. It's not all in our foods, but it starts with our foods. And then we can extract from things that we don't typically go and eat, and we can create supplements from that. And I'll get into that in a little bit more. But, you know, I always say it's diet versus health. If you look at what are the first 3 letters in diet, oh, is that coincidence? What are the first 4 letters in health? Is that coincidence? It's kind of funny, but this is really what we focus on when we're talking with people and sharing our stories, is we are all focusing on health. And so whoever invited you here today, they have chosen to make a focus on health and healing and helping other people. It's not about doing a diet. A diet has a begin point, an end point, and then you kind of expect that you're going to do something. I always say there's what's known as a red carpet diet. You have an event coming up, you might do something to shred the pounds quickly, you know, but that's not going to be a long-term healthy solution. A healthy solution is all the things you see on the right, and it's not just about food, and it's not just about exercising the physical body. But, you know, we come together on Palm Sunday here. It's also about exercising your spiritual body. It's also about exercising your emotional and your mental capacities. All of these things play into everything because it's a lifelong journey of many, many choices along the way. So it's what your diet's not only what you eat, it's what you watch, it's what you listen to, it's what you read, and it's also the people you hang around with. So again, thank the person who invited you because you're hanging around. I like that, Connie. You just looked at Rick like, oh. It is. It's the person you hang around with the most. So always be mindful of what you're putting into your body, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and have a sense of humor. I know that so many people right now are stressed, but you know, have a sense of humor because we know that laughter is very good for our mental and emotional health. So did you plan your wine tour today? Because it's pretty easy. Where are you going to have your next glass of wine? Or as somebody said earlier, your next bottle of wine. Okay. Sadly, in our country, we take better care of these 4 things that you see here than we do ourselves. And we all know people like this. People are sending their pets, not maybe this week, but people are sending their pets to spas. They take better care of their dogs and their cats than they do themselves sometimes. And I ask, you know, is your lawn green? Is this your body? Is your body green inside? Is it healthy and strong like this lawn? We want to make sure we keep up with the neighbors and have this nice green lawn and pretty flowers, but what are you putting into your body? Because in the end, the lawn doesn't matter. Your body does though. So only you can plan for your wellness. So the question that we ask before we start going into any kind of talking about our systems and our products is, if 0 were the absence of challenges, you had no challenges health-wise at all, where would you fall on the scale right now? Would you fall a -1 or -4? Or do you feel you're in the plus range? And then the question is there any room for you to move forward towards the right side? Now, if you're a +5, pretty much you're probably doing everything. You've got your game on. Everything's good. But I think honestly, all of us, because I've never met a perfect person, have I?
No, close.
I've never met a perfect person in my life. We all can improve. We all can do something better. And that's why coming together like this, I always say, why do I teach these? Because I always do better the week after I teach one of these seminars than I do 2 weeks after, because it brings you back to center and reminds you where you want to be. So what we're going to spend time on, and I'm going to have Pip jump in here with some of these in a second, is we're going to spend time on these 4 pillars today. And we're not going to stay here. I have 10 of 3. We're not going to stay here past 3:30 talking to you. Well, maybe we will. Maybe we'll take it till 9:30 tonight. What do you think?
I don't think so.
No, we have enough material, but it is these 4 pillars. Excuse me. It's low glycemic impact eating. It's eating the right foods to have the best impact for your health on your body. Most of us have seen low glycemic index. That is the value they put on foods. Notice that foods that are packaged don't have a glycemic index to them. It's whole foods, it's real foods. And they have a glycemic index. It's the impact that that has on your blood sugar when it goes into your body. So you can say, okay, we've got carrots, a handful of carrots, and we have a handful of M&Ms. They actually are both high glycemic. They both have a lot of sugar, but are they equal? If I eat carrots, do I get the same value as I do if I eat M&Ms? No, because M&Ms are high in processed sugar. Carrots are high in natural sugar. Carrots have lots of, anybody know what they have lots of? They have lots of fiber. And that fiber blunts the impact of the glycemic index. So you would have to eat lots and lots and lots of carrots before you would get the same glycemic load as eating a little tiny handful of M&Ms. We're going to be talking about body composition and exercise, quality supplementation, or as Pip refers to as intelligent supplementation, because not all supplements are created equal, and education, which is why you're here, and your thoughts, like we already talked about. So do you want to talk about our intestines a little bit?
Well, everything that, all health comes through the intestines. It's where digestion takes place, and it's critical that your gut be healthy in order for you to be healthy. So that's why the road to good health is paved with good intestines. That's a key right there, is cleaning that out. What are some common signs of poor digestive health? Things that we've all experienced: bloating, belching, nausea, constipation, irritability.
You skipped right over flatulence.
Yeah, well, I don't suffer from that. Food intolerance, skin reactions. A lot of people don't realize that skin eruptions or acne in teenagers is related to poor diet and poor digestive health. A lot of times people say, well, it's the age, you know, they're going through those teen years and everything's changing and it's acne. Well, it's also, a lot of it has to do with their diet and how they're digesting their food. What are they eating? Usually in the teen years, they develop some independence and they start hanging out with their friends at fast food restaurants and things like that. A lot of them work in fast food restaurants where they're around that kind of food more often.
We always say you are what you eat. You may have heard that. We always say you are what you absorb, because most people are not absorbing the nutrients they're taking in because of all of this extra stuff that's in there gumming it up. And so your GI tract, the function of your GI tract is where your immune system is. Your immune level, of which we have all become very, very vitally aware of in the last few weeks, our immunity is very related to our gut health. And so we always say everything starts here and it ends down there, because you're supposed to chew up that food, take it in, it's supposed to absorb the nutrients, and then all of the excess or waste is supposed to be dumped out of the body. But if you're not dumping it out of the body on a regular, schedule, then what happens is it's sitting inside, and your body temperature is what? 98.6. So when you look at any food that gets lost or stuck in a trash can sitting out in the sun at 98.6 degrees, you open up that lid in the afternoon when you come home from work, what's it smell like? It's putrid, it's awful, okay? Well, that is already growing bacteria. It's already growing things that are not healthy for the system. It's trying to break it down, but it's not breaking it down because it's waste. And so what happens when that's inside your stomach, or not your stomach, but in your gut, it wreaks havoc with your lymphatic system and with your entire immune system. So it's really important that we cleanse things. So, some of you mentioned when we were talking at the beginning about cleansing, this isn't for everyone. And again, everything we talk about here is going to be totally customizable, because each of us is individual in where we are in our journey. And so when we look at things, we have a 7-day cleanse that I absolutely love, because I worked for years with cleanses, for years. And some of the cleanses I saw people do in the health field and health arena were, quite honestly, very invasive. And then some didn't do anything. They really didn't do anything for the system. I love this because it not only cleans your GI tract, but it cleans your liver. So there's things in it, and it's a 7-day cleanse. I'm going to get into it in a minute because we're actually doing a special 30-day get lean and clean in quarantine. So I'll explain that in a second. But one of the things in this cleanse I mentioned before is fiber. Fiber. We always say protein and fiber at every meal make losing weight no big deal. So we use that for losing weight. However, I'm going to tell you fiber is essential to all of us, no matter whether we have extra weight to lose or not, because the average American's not getting enough. We've actually been told our bodies are equipped to consume up to 100 grams of fiber per day, but the American Heart Association, American Cancer Association, all of the associations basically recommend 25 to 35 grams per day because they felt like if we could at least get something in, we'd be doing better than the 11 grams that the average American gets. However, we can consume up to 100. Physically, our bodies can utilize that. And it doesn't mean it has to come from a supplement. It's eat well, exercise, and supplement intelligently. It's not supplement intelligently and then eat. We need to be putting food in our body. And so it might mean that you just need simply something like this, which I personally swear by for myself, and that is digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes need to get into the body to help you digest your food. And so when you actually eat food, you have enzymes in your gut that actually are meant to break down the food as it dumps into the stomach. Well, our enzymes deplete as we age. So over the age of about 30, enzymes start to go down. And so they keep going down. Well, if we don't replenish those enzymes, and enzymes come only from raw food. So if you're eating raw vegetables, raw fruits, raw meat, I don't highly recommend that. But if you're eating raw food, you're getting enzymes. Okay, so if you're not eating enough raw vegetables and enough raw fruit, even though we juice, we eat a lot of raw vegetables and a lot of raw fruit, I just know that if I'm going to eat any kind of grain whatsoever, and we limit our grains, I know that I have to put digestive enzymes in because it immediately makes me bloated and just feeling like very full and very uncomfortable. Aloe, and I'm actually going to ask Delynn to unmute yourself here in a minute because I want Delynn to share her husband's story about aloe. Aloe, again, we know what aloe does to the outside of the skin for healing, but aloe, when it's put in its pure form and processed the right way, is actually very healing to the entire GI tract. And so people who have GI tract problems have gotten very great results. I've had people who literally were sleeping sitting up, and within 2 weeks of using aloe every day, we're back able to sleep at night and get a full night's sleep. And this is not just one person. This is people over and over. Keep in mind, I've been doing this for 24 years. And it comes in many different flavors. If you've ever had aloe before, you know that aloe can taste very nasty.
Earthy.
Earthy. So Delynn, are you there? Let me see if I can find her on here. Delynn, if you can hear me, unmute yourself.
Yes.
There
Go
you
ahead.
go.
There you go. I got you. Can you just share what happened with your husband when he started on aloe?
Yes. So my husband's a bigger guy. He likes to eat. And he got a lump in his throat, which we were really very afraid that it might be cancer. And he went to a GI specialist, and it was actually, he had such bad acid reflux that his epiglottis was like 3 times the size of a regular epiglottis. And that's the little flap that keeps the acid from coming up out of your esophagus. And they put him on omeprazole, the Nexium, and that's when it was still prescription. And he was taking that. It then became over the counter. And then they came out saying, you know, that things like that and Zantac can actually cause cancer. He got really afraid. I called Beth and I said, look, I had been on the products for a couple of years. I said, he needs something. He can't sleep. He's, you know, eating Tums like crazy. And she said, try the aloe. And he's not one for supplements at all. But I ordered the kiwi strawberry. He started taking a capful in the morning and a capful at night before he went to bed. And within a week, he was not taking any Tums, and he was down to 2 Nexiums a week. By the second week, he wasn't on any at all. So it's worked out well for him, and he loves it. It tastes good.
Yeah, because you probably wouldn't take it if it didn't, right?
He would not.
So thank you for sharing that. She actually asked Lynn for her video. She had him take a little video and record it. So cute.
I'll share it with you and you can share it.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
So what's the goal here? The goal is that we want the meal to go in and the meal to come out. Not the whole meal. You want to absorb the nutrients that the meal offers you and eliminate the waste. So we always say with a baby, if you've ever changed a diaper, which probably most of you have at some point, it's meal in, meal out, meal in, meal out, meal in, meal out. Then they start to move on to real food off of formula or breast milk. And when they do that, they start to get more formed bowel movements. And so you'll see the little happy faces right there in the top middle, because that's the end of your colon is shaped like a banana. So this is what it should be shaped like. And you should be eliminating, if you eat 3 meals and 2 snacks per day, you should be getting 3 to 5 eliminations per day, 24 hours after it went in the day before. If you're not doing that, or it looks like any of these others, something's going on inside that GI tract. So the goal is to get it to a point that you can have really very, for lack of a better term, solid, solid poop. I don't know what else to say, you guys. I mean, I could put it into all legal terms here, but let's just be real. We want the bad stuff to come out, so it's not staying in your body and creating havoc with the rest of your health. So this is really important. I always used to laugh as an occupational therapist working in a nursing home. When I was in my 20s, I would come home and say, all they ever talk about, old people, all they ever talk about is pooping. But you suddenly start to realize that if you don't, it's uncomfortable. It makes you not feel well. I finally, over the years, related to the fact that my allergy symptoms were very related to my gut health. That if I could keep my gut moving and in good shape, pH-wise and everything else, and I could eliminate on a regular daily basis, my allergies were really way down. So I needed to work on from here to there and getting it healthy. And so we're gonna lead into what we call our Super 7. These are foundational support products to be able to create a solid foundation. So if you don't have any of the problems we just talked about, then you might start right into a foundation. If you do, then I recommend start with getting some of the gut cleaned up first and resolve some of that, and then move into a healthy foundation. So Pip, do you wanna start us on the healthy foundation?
Yep. Actually, there's 4 products of the 7 in one, and this is called our Daily Essentials Kit. It's available in larger sizes that are more economical, but this is the most popular size for convenience. There are 4 products, like I mentioned. The 4 products are OPC3. You're going the wrong way.
Well, I have a slide, but we went too fast.
OPC3, multivitamin, calcium, and B vitamins, all in one packet. Now, the difference between tablets and isotonics, let's real quick do a quick chemistry lesson. Isotonics comes from the words iso and tonic. Iso means same and tonic means pressure. So the isotonic that actually is a powder in the packet form, but when you add it to the right amount of water, becomes the same pH level as your bodily fluids. So your blood, your sweat, your tears. This allows the isotonic fluid, when you drink it, to go through the pyloric valve and go right into your system for digestion. When you take a pill, it goes into your stomach and it has to be broken down before it can even be absorbed. Now here's an x-ray that was taken showing 3 days worth of the most popular multivitamin sold today, and that's Centrum Silver. And it shows 3 days worth of pills in the x-ray. They're going to be coming out in the same shape they went in, providing no nutritional value, and basically a waste of money. And a lot of times people say, well, you know what? The isotonic sounds good, but I take a whole food supplement. And often they actually look down and say, I take a whole food supplement. Basically, the law allows people to market a whole food supplement as long as it has only 10% of its ingredients from natural plant-derived ingredients. So most people make the assumption that when they're taking a whole food supplement, they're getting 100% whole food. Well, the only thing that is whole food is whole food. The rest of it is binders and fillers. And as we circled in this one slide, you can have whole food ingredients, but they're still added with others in order to get in the system properly. I'm not sure what happens.
I'm just going to double check here, you guys, make sure we don't have a hacker in here because we've got some lines showing up on our screen. So bear with me for 1 second.
There is something going around right now that Zoom's trying to work on it, that it's kind of easy for people to get into these Zoom sessions and then take control. And Zoom is now working very hard on security measures.
Okay, it looks like it was an accident that somebody did, so.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
It's better to do this than to get some of the stuff that people have had.
Yes, so we have a line across our screen. I apologize for that. So you already explained this, right?
No, I didn't explain the time. This is actually a study that was done showing isotonic versus a tablet for pycnogenol and OPC. And in every case, the amount of isotonic fluid gets into the body faster than the tablet. And when it's all said and done, isotonics actually get into the system at about 90 to 95%, or they're 90 to 95% bioavailable. Everybody's system is different. But the pill can be as little as 10 to 15%. So a lot of times doctors overprescribe when it comes to pills because they know that the amount that's being absorbed by that patient is significantly less than what's on the label of the box.
Okay, so there's your 4.
There's our 4. I talked about them, OPC3, multivitamin, B complex, which is actually an activated B so that everybody can uptake those B vitamins, and calcium plus.
So I just want to make mention of OPC3 because some of you mentioned it at the beginning when we were introducing ourselves. OPC3 is actually what I was introduced to in isotonic state 25 years ago. And I was because I wasn't really looking. I had been looking for a product to be able to help our son, who at the time was less than 2 and had really major ear infections and faced with ear tubes. And I was trying naturally with a lot of different natural options to be able to reduce his, increase his immunity and decrease his challenges he was having. And one of the ingredients I had come across was pycnogenol. And so I was actually crushing a pycnogenol tablet every day and mixing it in like applesauce, yogurt, things like that, and putting it down his little throat as quickly as I could because I had gotten some good results with it. But I still was dealing with a little bit of residual. There was still a little residual in his ears, according to the pediatrician. He wasn't talking yet. They wanted to put the ear tubes in. And I was introduced to OPC3. And the woman who introduced me to it, who happened to be my cleaning service at the time, she said, it is pycnogenol in an isotonic format. And I was like, what does that mean? Iso means same, tonic means pressure. So it looks like a jello gelatin in its dry state, all these isotonics. And then you mix them with water in the right proportions and they become the same pressure as your body fluids. So like your tears and your blood and your sweat, they're all isotonic. When you go into the hospital and get an IV, it has to be isotonic in order to be received by the body and put into your blood system. And so when you drink this, it becomes isotonic. It's 90 to 95% bioavailable. And it was this pycnogenol that I had him on in a chewable format that was now in this drinkable format. So for a less than 2-year-old, I was like, you drink it? Oh my gosh, yes, I'll try it. Anything had to be easier than what I was doing. And within 2 weeks, we had a completely different child on our hands. He went from 1 word, basically, to 3 and 4 word phrases in 2 weeks' time. So we were like, what in the world just happened? It was the only change we had made. Finally, for the first time in his life, he was sleeping through the night and not waking up because of snoring. And so we knew something was going on. I could tell you that child now is 26 years old, and he has given us our first grandbaby, who is an isotonics baby. Her mama took isotonics throughout her entire pregnancy. Very, very healthy baby who is now 8 months old and has not yet had any kind of sickness or illness or ill doctor visits. She's had a little bit of skin eczema that we actually started giving her some aloe and using some aloe on the outside of her skin mixed with some breast milk and coconut oil, and voila, her skin is back to beautiful. So nature gives us what we need. And so OPC3 has this pycnogenol in it, but it also has grapeseed extract, red wine. No, there's no wine in it, I'm sorry. Or not sorry, because we don't want wine in it. It's the extracts. It's this extracts from the grape seed, okay, and bilberry and citrus bioflavonoids. So it actually tastes kind of grapey, and that's what we are drinking here together with Isotonics Vitamin C today, because Isotonics Vitamin C is another one that we'll talk about briefly. So pycnogenol has over 400 clinical trials and studies on it. It's not up for debate. It's very well studied. Ask the person who invited you if you'd like more information on it, because there's a lot of great information out there. But I want to show you, because pictures speak louder than words. And I'm sure you can believe that I could probably speak to you for more than 1 hour today. But I want to show you some pictures. As a matter of fact, someone who's on the line with us today, and I'm going to have her share her story shortly, this is her mom on the left. And she had already had some experience with her results and kept saying to her mom, Mom, I'd like you to try this. And her mom was like, no, 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 no. Finally agreed to trying it. She put her on 4 doses of Isotonics OPC3. And you can see within 12 days, she started to get what I would say is actual circulation back into her legs and feet again. Now I ask you, if you saw a leg like that on the left and it went like that to the right in 12 days, would that give somebody some function in their life back? Absolutely. And again, this is a woman that's presented with psoriasis, very bad case of psoriasis, could barely get her shoes on to even walk into the doctor's office. And this doctor finally, after many trials of different things and was introduced to OPC3, decided to put her on it. And this is a 6-week time period. You're talking complete healing in 6 weeks to be able to get back to functioning and having life back. It is good for kids as well. It doesn't matter. As Pip said earlier, your skin's your largest organ, and a lot of things will try to come out through the skin from toxins. And so any kind of toxic anything that's coming in is going to try to get out. If it doesn't come out through the upper respiratory system and it doesn't come out through the bowel system, then it's going to come out somewhere or it's stuck. And so here it's trying to come out through the skin, and Alita had great results with getting on OPC3 after many, many different doctor visits across the country, honestly. And then we go into that. So that was 4 of the Super 7, all in one little daily essentials kit. And now we're going to add on your last 3 of those foundational. And vitamin D, if you have not heard about vitamin D right now, it is big in the news. It's been big in the news for years, but it's finally getting its day. Because everyone's talking about vitamin D.
Vitamin D is huge, and almost everybody is deficient in vitamin D, and they're actually correlating a lot of the illnesses that we see a lot of to deficiency in vitamin D. Things like multiple sclerosis. Most people don't realize that there's a correlation to the amount of sunshine and where there's like a vitamin D line, a multiple sclerosis line that goes across the globe. And closer to the equator, there's fewer incidences of MS. Further away from the equator, there's more incidences of MS. And that is because of the sunshine and the amount of vitamin D people are absorbing.
And then you look on here and see cardiovascular disease and diabetes and dementia. These are huge, huge killers in our country. As a matter of fact, number one is cardiovascular disease, and then diabetes is the fastest rising disease. And so it's, again, vitamin D is linked to so many different things in the body, and it's linked to your immune health. So very, very important to make sure you're getting vitamin D in the correct formula. Again, one of the things I love about this company and why I'm still here 24 years later, or actually 25 years later with the products, is because they really look at the studies. And then what they do is they create formulations that work in synergy with one another. And they really look to make sure that that's what they're putting out. And so if we can put it in an isotonic state, we will. If we can't, or maybe the best route is not in an isotonic state because it's better delivered in a pill because it's fat soluble, then we will do that. So you have to look across the board. I just feel like this is something that we are very passionate about learning. Not everyone wants to learn that. We can all help people coming together. And that's why we do these. We have others on this call today who could teach this and do a much better job than us. But today was our turn. So you want to just touch on magnesium?
Yeah, magnesium, there's a lot of signs of magnesium deficiency that are just kind of like general aches and pains and tiredness and soreness that people don't recognize. We didn't really cover a lot in the beginning about our soils in this country and how they're deficient in minerals. And because our foods come from the soils that are deficient, the foods are basically deficient. And what we're finding is people aren't getting the minerals like magnesium like they need. So they need to supplement, because magnesium is one of those things that your body needs a great amount of. And before Isotonics actually had its magnesium, Beth and I, when I was diagnosed with my condition back in 2011, the health provider we went to strongly suggested magnesium. And at that time, we didn't have Isotonics magnesium. We got a cream, a gel that we put on our skin, and it slowly absorbed in, because magnesium supplements in pill form almost absorb nothing. It's so hard to absorb. So we ended up walking around like flypaper, because we'd have this sticky stuff on, and slowly it would absorb into our skin. But then we came out with Isotonics magnesium, and for us personally, that was a game changer.
I'd like to say it was fun to rub it on each other's bodies, but it was so sticky, it was awful. What an experience, I will say. And then coming in for our 7th of the Super 7 is Omega Fish Oil.
Fish oils. They talk about the fact that fish is brain food. And, maybe our parents said that, maybe your grandparents said that. It's actually true. The brain is made up of fat, and it needs healthy fat to be stimulated and to be healthy. And the problem in our country is that we get too much of the wrong kind of fat and not enough of the healthy fat. And our omega-3s have the right amount of EPA and DHA as studied, as Beth had said earlier, to determine what the daily amount is for a healthy brain.
So I'm actually, Denise, I can't see, I can only see 4 people at a time. So Denise, can you unmute yourself and kind of share your Super 7-ish type story about what happened with you?
Sure. It's a long story, so I'll try to condense it as much as possible. But basically, it's been about 4 years ago now. I developed a kind of a off-the-wall, crazy medical situation, is the only thing I know to call it, that was a result of late radiation damage from radiation treatments that I had had probably 16 years prior. It's been 20 years now. And I had gone to several doctors and tried cream after cream, and they did biopsies and trying to figure out what was going on, and nothing worked. And one of the doctors actually told me outright that this will never heal on its own, and we want to do this really invasive surgery that sounded a little bit too science fiction to me to want to go through with it. And I had actually met Beth way back 15 years prior to that, and knew from when I met her, and we'd actually kind of kept in touch throughout the years, but not on a regular basis, but enough that I had her contact information, and I knew that she was very knowledgeable in natural health remedies, and I did not want to have that surgery. So I called Beth and said, told her what was going on and said, what would you suggest? What would you do in this situation? And so she helped me concoct what we call a custom cocktail out of pretty much all of these Super 7, as well as a few other things that we incorporated in my regimen. And I'm very thankful that that condition has healed on its own without me having to have that surgery.
That was a really condensed version. I tell you, when somebody comes to you that has something that she so didn't want to have the surgery, and I understood because it was a very invasive surgery and it sounded very sci-fi. And I could hear in her voice. And so we didn't know. We said, let's give it a try. But within a couple of months of her starting on this nutritional regimen and changing her diet as well, going to the doctor and having the nurse say, holy granulation. Basically, the nurse was amazed that things were starting to actually heal. They were showing signs of healing because everything they had tried up to that point had not shown signs of healing. And so, again, I'm not saying that we can't get some healing out of what we can get from our medical society, because we can. And I don't want to be a martyr and say there's not a place or time for that, because there is. But our bodies are very, very capable of healing if we put our mind, our spiritual body, and our physical body into the right nodes and be able to look for things that our planet provide us. And that's what this is all about. So, Denise, we're very grateful that you reached out, and we're very grateful that you're here today to share all of this. So,
thank you. Me too.
Go ahead.
So this is the retail cost of the Super 7. And as you can see, it's about $5, and that's for all 7 components of the Super 7. But what do you spend your money on now? And in a lot of cases, this is a Starbucks board. A lot of people go and have $5 worth of Starbucks every day, and that's not providing nutrition. It's not providing health into their body.
And so we don't know what your health is worth. Only you know that. Like we said with the chart, I'm just going to give you a few stories. I mean, basically, these are people that I personally know. One of them's actually on this call. One of them, their mother is actually on this call. But it's all about a comprehensive, customizable program to fit your needs of where you are with your commitment level to your health, your budget, your goals. All of these things need to be considered because not everyone's overweight. Sometimes, like the one here on the left, I mean, she lost some weight, but more so, I would call her what she was more like skinny fat. She had extra fat going on in her body, but from the outside, she didn't look that bad in her clothing. But she was dealing with a lot of health issues. And sometimes when you start taking care of health issues, then sometimes the weight starts coming off. And I know Denise has a story that goes along with that as well, that once she started getting control of all her health issues, the excess weight started to dump off. It's all about making sure that you have complete health. This happens to be another product that we had put into Denise's custom formula that she was taking, and that was greens, because we talked about it at the beginning. We need, it's recommended that we get at least 5 to 7, I've seen 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. However, I will tell you what I've learned in all my studies is more vegetables than fruit. And a lot of people go, but I like fruit better. Fruit is good, but remember that fruit has a lot of natural sugar. Vegetables have a higher density of nutrition in them. But if you're not getting that, sometimes it's easier to fill the gap. Even though we personally eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and I say lots of vegetables, little bit of fruit, We still take greens every day. Why? Because I don't feel we can ever get enough to combat all the stuff we have going on in our environment. And so we have two different options. There's one that's isotonic, meaning it's same pressure as your body fluids. So it can be taken mixed with all of the other different isotonics and make what we call a cocktail or a toddy. Or you can take the complete greens and mix them into anything. So we actually mix our complete greens into our morning shake. We do a healthy protein, healthy fat. We get all our good stuff in that shake in the morning, and we add greens to that. So again, just to supplement a good diet or supplement a bad diet. It depends where someone's starting. We don't want to leave you today without talking about the immune system just a little bit more, because in addition with what we're dealing with today, that immune system is so important. So yes, getting the gut cleaned out is really important so that the gut can work at its highest potential. But there's other things, like I mentioned, our vitamin C that's mixed in our glass today. Vitamin C, Isotonics vitamin C, is the right kind of vitamin C to actually do wonders in the body. It is not, I'm not saying you don't want to eat oranges, lemons, limes, things like that. Yes, but the thing is, if you can get a large volume of vitamin C in the right format into your body right now, you are going to boost your immune system. So we are actually recommending everyone take extra vitamin C right now. In addition to that, we also have an Isotonics immune formula for adults and children. So that's why you see two bottles here, because this one's the adult version, this one's the child version. Because again, it's made from certain mushrooms that have been scientifically proven to enhance the immune system within the gut. So I really encourage, check those out, get more information on those. So again, we know this is a lot of information, and we're coming in for a landing at this point. So where do you start? You know, what are you looking for? Again, I said it's customizable to you. I want to thank you for joining us. We are going to open this up for some questions here at the end. But do you want to just get lean and clean during quarantine? Because this is a great time, honestly. We're home for a while. So if we're home, we have the ability to go out and get our foods, and we have the ability to actually cook. Some of us probably have more time right now to cook. Or are you looking to target a very specific concern? So kind of like Denise had a specific concern when she contacted me. We honed in on that specific concern, and then she started to grow into other things to be able to get her diet together, stuff like that. Or do you feel like right now you just need basic foundational support? You know, again, it's really a conversation, and I encourage you to follow up with the person who invited you to have that conversation. But I want to tell you that we actually have, I'm super excited about this because we've never done this before. I am a trainer for our lifestyle system in the company, and we have about 14 trainers across the world. We are all coming together in a group format along with our corporate team to be able to do an online Facebook group that's going to be private to anyone who joins us in the Get Lean During Quarantine. And it's going to start on April 14th. You have to have purchased your 30-day Jumpstart Kit before April 7th. So you have a few more days to get that in. And then you're going to have access to not only all these trainers, we're going to be putting tips in there every day. You're going to be getting a 30-day recipe guide. You're going to get a 30-day workout guide. You're going to get real live videos going on within the group for workouts at home. Just so much support. We're going to be doing videos on, you know, different recipes that we do that are quick and easy. And you get the whole Jumpstart Kit of the daily essentials, the cleanse. You get some really incredibly delicious shakes, which I'll have someone talk about in just a second. And then you get one of our other health products that's amazing that I didn't go over today, Core. So ask for some information on the Core, because it's truly a product that I feel is truly a nutraceutical. The pharmaceutical companies would love to get a hold of Core because it does amazing things for the body and is very well studied. Or is it that you're looking that you want to start with foundational support? So as Pip said, you can get a daily essentials kit in bottles. These are 90 serving bottles, and you kind of mix your own formula up each day yourself, and you decide how many doses you want of each of these. Or you can get it in packets, which we used to say were easy for on the go, but nobody's on the go right now. But the thing is, they're still easy. You don't have to be a little science lab in the morning. You just tear open a packet and you've got all 4 of your products in there, and you pour them into a glass with 8 ounces of water. and then the aloe we talked about, the enzymes we talked about. And I'm actually going to ask Maria, are you still online with us? Can you unmute? And I would love, as soon as I hear you, I'll tell you what I want you to talk about.
She's scared.
I'm not scared. I was having trouble with the mouse.
Here she is. Thank you. Your story is so amazing. I know it's a long story too. Can you give us your short version of your health story?
Sure. I'm going to go back to when I was a kid, which I don't normally start there, but when I was a kid, I was one of those that could eat anything I wanted. My mother called me the human garbage can. I was skinny as a rail, and that continued pretty much through to my mid-40s when, you know, most women know things start to change. And I started, it seemed like every year I was putting on 3 to 5 pounds. So fast forward to summer of 2015, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, terminal stage 4. So I spent pretty much 8 months doing nothing but worrying about him. And, you know, I mean, I went days, literally in the last 6 weeks of his life, I went days without eating, which didn't think twice about, but I now know is very unhealthy. After he passed away, I had lost some weight from not doing the eating thing. And then I went into kind of a depressed state and was eating everything in sight because I didn't know what else to do. Fast forward another year, and I came across a post that a friend of mine, an old friend, had put on Facebook sharing her health journey with the TLS Transitions Lifestyle System. And I decided then and there, you know what? It's time to take control of my life because my husband had never been sick, and I watched what happened to him. And I thought, you know what? I've always been healthy, never took a prescription pill in my life, but that didn't really mean anything. I thought I was eating healthy, but I thought, I'm going to do this. I need to do this for me because I didn't want to end up, sadly, where he did. So I started with what was then the 21-day Jumpstart Kit, followed it very religiously all through the 21 days. And when that was over, I pretty much continued on one of the menu programs. I kind of went back and forth between 2 of them for 3 months. And in that 3-month period, I lost 30 pounds total. But even more importantly than that, I had started to take vitamins, which I had never taken ever in my life. And the side effect of losing the weight was that I lost all the pain. I got more energy. I was sleeping better. Stress was relieved. I still have stress from time to time, but that's a whole nother story. My skin health was better. I mean, it just generally overall improved everything. And I would say to anyone that's even thinking about embarking on this 30-day lean down during quarantine, I would highly recommend it. And it is a great jump start to getting your health back and feeling great. I feel better than I have I'm honestly going to say 15, 20 years. So it was a great journey for me, and I'm glad to continually be on it and have the support of Beth, as well as Charlotte and the many other people in the TLS community.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Maria. The thing is, you know, she talks about the weight, but I could tell you what we saw from our angle was the inflammation. There was a lot of inflammation in her body that resolved itself, which is why the pain starts going away, why you sleep better, etc. But then also, I want to say this, the amount of mental health gift it has given her.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy to go through, and I know some of you on here have gone through many challenges as well. And it's not easy to go through these challenges in life. And our mental health is so important to be able to continue down the path and the journey. And so we honestly have experienced that together with her. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So again, it comes down to you guys. I mean, are you looking to move towards the right of the chart in any way, shape, or form? And if so, it comes down to a conversation with the person who invited you here today. And with that, I'm actually going to throw up another poll. Whoops. I thought I was going to throw up another poll, but I hit the wrong button apparently. I'm going to throw up another poll now that I've got my polls open. All right, so let's see here. This is a real easy one. So we should have all numbers coming in fast and furious. Ready, go. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we have got 100% yes, but not everyone has answered. So I'll just give it another second and I'll leave that up there. And do you want to pull us in for a landing and just talk about our environment real quickly, because it's so important?
Yeah, we decided that it's so critical, especially with everybody at home and understanding how important it is to have a safe environment. We decided we would throw in a couple slides. One of our products that doesn't get a lot of love because, well, we're passionate about health and wellness. So that's the direction we go. But this is health and wellness. This is cleaning products for the home. And what we want to talk about, I can't see the advanced slide thing, so sorry, is we have a line of environmentally friendly products called Snap. And they were actually green before being green was in vogue. We have a disinfectant product, which is our Snap disinfectant. And the reason we cover this on a health and wellness seminar is because it literally says on the back that it treats coronavirus. And I'm gonna put the cursor right there and it says coronavirus. It also handles a ton of other viral descriptions, but with what we have going on in the world right now, we thought it was important that everybody know this was sold out for a while. Everybody bought, and I think it is back in stock.
I believe it's back in stock, but if it's not, ask the person who invited you, because this bottle lasts forever.
Yeah.
So all you need is a little tiny bottle out of it, and then you can add it to your own gallon of water.
Exactly.
And make your own formula. So again, just ask them to break the bottle down and be able to give you a little bit of it, because a little bit goes a long way.
It is actually listed right now as one of the products that can fight coronavirus, and that's on the which website? Is it Homeland Security?
Homeland Security.
I think it's
website.
Homeland Security actually has this product listed.
So I just wanted to close with something that would make us bring a smile to our face, because if you've ever worked with jalapenos, you know this to be true. But honestly, let me pop back in and see what kind of questions we have. And I have one more poll. So let's put the last poll up here. And then we'll jump back to screen share so everybody can see everyone's faces. Okay, I'm launching the last poll right now.
We're at 340.
Has it shown?
No, there's no poll.
Well, that's interesting.
There is on our end.
Let me end it and start it again.
You guys just answer for everybody.
All right, I'm relaunching. Okay,
There it
relaunch.
is.
There we go.
I could tell by everyone's faces. They were all looking at their camera.
We're waiting for results.
All right, 4 more seconds. All right, we've got 100% voting. Thank you very much. And we appreciate your feedback on that and look forward to talking to all of you. So I am going to actually stop the share of the screen so we can bring everybody back to say hello to each other. Oh, I see some new faces that joined us after we started. Hello and welcome to everyone that we didn't get to hear from you at the beginning. So we know this is a private conversation for most people, is to discuss your wellness. So we do encourage you to follow up with the person who invited you, but we just want to be able to open it up because honestly, you know, we're all kind of stuck in our homes by ourselves. It's a Sunday afternoon. So does anyone have anything they would like to share? Any parting words or questions or comments? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Beth, Lionel here.
Yes.
I noticed that whenever I receive an invitation to come on a webinar, it says not to share this link. Now, what should I do if I have persons who I want to bring on?
That is a very good question, Lionel. It says that because they don't want the link to go out virally because it ends up that they end up with hackers. But if you are sending it personally to 1 or 2 people and not sharing it on social media, that is absolutely fine.
Okay, fine. Okay. I guess when I do that, I should tell them not to share the link.
Yeah, and actually the link to register is always the best one to send, not the link once you have registered, because
No, okay.
That's your personal connection.
Okay, good. That's good. Okay, and in that case, the approval goes directly to them.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we have recorded this session, so I will send that out if anyone likes to. I'm going to stop the recording so we don't catch anybody's personal information here at the end.